afternoon everybody, and welcome back to Thirsty Thursday. My name is Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush, and I'm here again with another demonstration for you. I'm here on a Thursday at 1 and a Sunday at 1, but if you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, then you will be told of all of the videos that come from me, Tony, Carly and Simon from all the different brands that feature here on the How to Craft Network. So today I'm hoping to show you a couple of different techniques. You may have seen some of them before. Hopefully something will be new for you or looking at in a different way. And I'm going to use the dies from our Geometric Animals collection, Geo Art, and this is the cat and dog. I'm going to do the dog one. I've done, if you want to see the cat, I've done a colouring stamping one with the cat before, so do check that out. But today I'm not using the stamp part, I'm just using the die part. So I'm just going to get my bits together that I need. I think there's a couple of bits of card still stuck in there from a previous make. I hope you're all well and keeping warm. Lots of you have been telling me that you're scheduled for your vaccines or had your vaccines already, or people in your family. So hopefully this is light at the end of the tunnel and the daffodils are starting to poke through the ground, and hopefully this is a slightly more optimistic look into the spring for us. So before I do the main feature of the dog on the card, I want to do a little heat embossing technique with you. So I'm making a square card today, and I'm making it black, predominantly black and gold. Oops, dropping something. Predominantly black and gold. So I've got a square 6-inch black card blank, and I've got another piece that's just a couple of millimeters smaller that I'm going to use for the dog feature and my sentiment. So what I want to do is make this extra piece stand out a little against that card blank. So what I'm going to do, if I can find my heat embossing ink pad that I've put somewhere. I don't really need my anti-static for this. God, that's a bit grubby, isn't it? I think I need to open a new one or re-stick it, give it a good clean. I want to add some gold to the edge of this. So like I say, you may have seen this before, and there's a couple of ways to do this. I can go on the edge here, either down or like this a little bit, or I can kind of squidge it in. Let's do a combo and see which edges come out the best, shall we? So I think I've done all 4 there. So I've got my gold digger powder because this is going to be black and gold, but you can use any powder for this. It only takes up a tiny, tiny bit because it's only going to be literally the edges. But it gives a nice little professional look as well to your cards. And I don't care if little odd bits get on, which is why I haven't used my anti-static. It's just going to kind of, oops, maybe not that much. It's just going to kind of add to that feeling. So the ones I squished in seems to have come slightly further up the side. I've made a right mess here, as usual. That's the one I haven't done yet. So you can take your time and be much. So I don't mind an extra bit, but I don't want it to actually look like a thumbprint. Right, let's just pop that down for a second. Let's see what happens to that now when we heat set it. I do just want to get rid of any actual kind of fingerprint marks. So maybe I should have tell you what would have been a good idea if I'd have touched the anti-static powder just with my fingers, so I wasn't putting it all over the card, but maybe just to stop, just because of the natural oils on your fingers. That's why you get the powder stick to where your fingers touch the paper or the card. And I do find sometimes the black is a bit more absorbent for that than some of the smoother white cards. So let's get the heat gun. So this should be quite subtle but effective. Well, here comes Horse the dog. Hi Horse, can you say hello today? Can you say hello? Oh good, just changing there with the heat. Coming to say hello today, Horse? No, you're feeling a bit camera shy. Doesn't he know he's the official Thirsty Brush mascot? Eh? I really like that effect. So you can see the one that I just kind of went up and down here, it's very, very subtle, just a tiny little bit. And then the ones that I kind of dipped in because it's caught like a millimetre of the edge, I really, really like that. I think that's really, really cool. So hopefully then when we add that to the card a little bit later on, that just makes it really stand out. But also when you've used something quite bold, like we're going to do a big gold focal point on a card, it just kind of ties things in together and gives us a really nice professional finish. So the next part, back to this piece, is I really want to use this die, and I wanted to give it a foiled finish. Now, you could just cut this out of gold mirror card if you haven't got the bits to do the next piece that I'm going to show you, or any other colour that you wanted. But I really wanted it to kind of feel part of this piece of card rather than just another die cut piece stuck on, and kind of practice another technique too. So what I thought might be fun is try some double-sided adhesive and some foil and see if we can get it. It's still going to be very, very slightly raised off our panel for the front of our card, but it should feel just kind of more part of it. So this is double-sided adhesive from, I think this is the Woodware one. Now, I've tried tons and tons before. It's quite delicate to work with. You know, you need to take your time a little bit more. But personally, I found this is the best one. But, you know, you might have your own personal preference as well. It comes in 4 A4 sheets. I just trim them down to A5 just to make it a little bit easier for my die cut machine that I've got sat on my desk here, which is my A5 Snap. So let's first of all cut out our little doggy from this double-sided adhesive. So this could be a card to your dog. Horse turned 3 recently. He had some steak. I don't think I did him a card in the end, but I know lots of people do, or maybe some of you get requests for cards to or from a pet. So I do find these geometric ones are great for that. Or sometimes they're just fun, aren't they? You know, something a little bit different than your flowers and scenery, that kind of stuff. Just something fun to play with. I bet things like kids and grandkids love them too, and big kids like us. So let's try and get rid of all the excess. Doesn't release quite as easy, this kind of stuff, although there is a backing. But you just have to be really careful that you're not accidentally, because there's backing on both sides because it's double-sided. So you do have to be quite careful. That seems to have worked really well though. So there's our doggy. And what I really love about these dies is that they're intricate enough to use the die on its own and still understand what the design is supposed to be, even when you don't layer on the stamped image as well. So the next thing to do is decide where we want our doggy to be on here. Now I want a sentiment on here as well, so I'm going to leave plenty of room for that. So I think I want him kind of here. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. It doesn't really say about using which side first. I just prefer to leave the blue with the grid. I don't know, I just find that easier to leave upright, and then I can see exactly where it is. So to get this backing off, what I do is stick my pokey tool in, or you could use tweezers or something like that, and you want to just peel it back. Touch as little of the double-sided adhesive as you can as you do this. Try not to stretch your die cut. And then see if we can do a good job of getting this straight. Try to keep my piece of card straight against my grid as best as I can. I think he's okay there, isn't he? Seems to go down smoother than I thought. Right, before I peel that back, I'm going to prep my foil. Now this was the start of a roll, so I don't see how it's marked a little bit there. Let's see if we can use it up to that point, see if that's big enough. Can't remember which foil this is, maybe Creative, or maybe something for my Go Press and foil that I haven't used for ages. But it's certainly one that can be used for cold techniques as well. So then peel back the top layer. So can you see now we've got a bit stuck to your card panel, and then you've got all this lovely adhesive. You could put loose glitter on there. I've done that before on videos. You could put heat embossing on there. Just be careful not to overheat it and burn it when you heat set it. But I absolutely love foils. So I'm just going to kind of burnish either with my finger, or you could use, I don't know, bone tool, that kind of thing. Finger seems to do the job, to be honest. Wow, he looks cool, doesn't he? You can also, if you've missed any bits, the great thing about foil is that you can just go back in. It's pretty smooth, you know. Sometimes there's odd bits it can't stick to because of just where it's been through the die cutting machine. So it's not as perfect as using a, you know, a foil press, but I think that's pretty good. And like I say, the best thing for me is that it feels more part of the card. It's not just another stuck on piece of die cut cardstock. You know, some of them can be quite thick, and then it's adding extra bulk to your card. So I'm really pleased with that. And that, for me, that's shinier than most Miri cardstocks anyway. Fabulous. So where are we? I've done a sentiment ahead of time, so that's really easy. I just wanted to give an extra little bit of kind of texture and feel on here, and something to tie in with this white that I've done the sentiment. So I've got Moon Dust, which is one of our metallic confetti inks. You could use the gold one, you could use any of them really, if you wanted to tie in any kind of colour. I think there's some green or something on this brush. Obviously I haven't cleaned it properly. Never mind, whatever colour it is. I don't want too much water, I just want to do a couple of splashes. Again, just to add a little bit of texture. Really not much, and it's something that you could leave off if you really want to. I'm just going to dab off any that are a pack of kind of dried out wipes here that I'm using as to mop up, because they've kind of lost their so just any that are on the foil. You could do that before you're foiling even. Okay, so that's just giving an extra little bit of zhuzh to it, and when that catches the light too, it's going to be shimmery once it's dry. Let's get our card blank, because I'm going to do something on the inside for a change. So we've got, what have we got? We've done heat embossing. That's obviously heat embossed just white on black as well, but you've seen me do that a million times. You've got foiling using double-sided adhesive. And then I love black cards, but how difficult is it then when you want to come and write on them? You can use a white gel pen, but sometimes you just want to use a normal pen. So what I've done is I've done a separate little panel, and this one is about 5.5 inches. Oh God, I've got paint look all over. Just ignore that. Just see if we can rub it off. Oh, there's still a bit of wetness in there. Never mind. So I've got this 5x5 piece of cardstock here, and then I've done a piece of vellum that is just about 1/2 inch, about a centimetre or so bigger on that one side. So what I'm going to do, you lay that down. You could score this if you wanted to. I'm just going to be super quick. And just fold that over at the end and pop a little bit of glue, or you could use tape, whatever you've got to hand, just to hold that in place. And I'll show you how that's going to, one, add an extra bit of texture. Another bit of kind of a luxurious, expensive feel to your card. But now you've got somewhere that you can write with a normal biro onto the inside of your card. So should we pop it all together? I really should have cleaned down, look, that mat after I did the splotches. I think that's why I've got moon dust paint everywhere. So this is our front. It's almost like dog in space or something, isn't it? I think this awesome is from the owl and the butterfly set. The one that comes with the sentiments that come with the dog and the cat are like best friend, best wishes. So that's the front, and you could embellish that a bit more if you want to. And then this piece that we've done, our little flap, that's going to sit inside Make sure we centralise it well. And so it sits nicely when you stand your card up. I've done it coming up this way. So that's going to sit really nice and flat in there once it's all dry. And again, just give a really nice, luxurious finish to your card. So you could do your self-adhesive, double-sided adhesive foil. You could do that maybe if you've got some die cut words or something like that on the inside, would be really cool. So you've got foil on inside and outside. So I hope that's helped you with a few extra techniques today that you might not have seen before, or sometimes it's just we forget them, don't we? And you know, you've got all this stuff and we all have our favourite techniques that we use every day. You know, one of mine is watercolour and heat embossing. But it's really nice to sometimes kind of revisit some techniques, either with new designs that you've got hold of, or just to refresh them and try them in a different way and remember how fun they were. So I will see you again on Sunday at 1 p.m. Lots of you got hold of the Thirsty Brush patterned vellum, our lovely floral kind of watercolour vellum, in the clearance event through Stamps by Me last week. So I've promised you that I will do a design on that. You could obviously use some patterned on here as well. That would be a good technique to do with a card like this, as long as you leave yourself a little bit of space, obviously, for your message. But I will get cracking on a project for you to make the most of those beautiful vellums, if of course you can bear to cut them. So I'll see you at Sunday at 1 p.m. In the meantime, do stay safe and look after yourselves, and I'll see you next time.